Welcome to our monthly live demo where we showcase our latest innovations. So at Affinidi, our vision is to empower individuals to regain control over their digital identities and to reclaim ownership of their own data and use this data to securely share with consent to the businesses in exchange of a value. Our technology is built on top of open standards for a more scalable solutions for developers and businesses. I'm Francis Pineda, lead support engineer here at Affinidi. So today, we are excited to demo a solution that enables businesses to extract actionable insights in a consent-driven process using zero-party data and holistic identity. So in this iteration of our live series, we will start with the fundamentals of great customer experience and explore how brands collect user data to understand their customers in an effort to provide a better customer experience. We will also explore the different techniques employed by business to know their customers and ways of collecting data to enable businesses to draw insights while empowering their customers with control over their data. Then we will spend some time on demo of how zero-party data can help businesses unlock actionable consumer insights, providing them with a more personalized experience. And finally, we want to invite you to explore other resources and what else is possible using our technology. So when we think about customer experience, usually what comes to mind is having a good user interface, great product offering, or great customer service. These are just some of the building blocks of a great customer experience. True customer experience extends beyond simple transactions or interactions with your brand. It is fundamentally about trust. How do customers feel throughout their journey with your brand? It begins with the data we collect through continuous interactions with them that builds a lasting connections as they go through this journey. For example, I was looking to buy sneakers and was browsing an e-commerce website. I remember the time that I did not proceed to sign up because the website that I went to showed me a long sign-up form and asked a lot of data points without having shown much value to me. As a customer, this was not a good experience and not something that you can trust. So let's look at some of the experiences throughout the customer journey that acts as a signals of trust. So first is the hassle-free onboarding. Coming from a personal experience I shared, I encountered websites before where I am presented with a long registration form to fill. I decided not to proceed and look for another option since the sign-up process is too much of a hassle, even though it was recommended by others. So in this situation, it highlights that seamless onboarding provides confidence for customers whether to go ahead with the product or service. Another aspect is the personalized experience. Most of the time, when you land to a website, you were given a very generic experience, where some of the items displayed is not even relevant to your interests. And to be able to get a better experience, you had to go through a long onboarding process and fill a bunch of fields. So this goes back to our first example where we have to go through the hassle of long onboarding process, which is not a good customer experience. And then some website uses website tracking and analytics like Google Analytics to try to identify your preferences. But these are just all guessworks and lead to a bad experience instead. So imagine if I was visiting a sneaker e-commerce store and then they specifically showed me, for example, Air Jordans at the top because that's what I prefer over other types of sneakers. That will immediately pique my interest and give me a great experience. And then lastly is the data security and transparency. During sign-up, websites sometimes ask for data points where it is not very clear on the purpose of collecting such data. As an example, I was asked before during my registration to an online store of my middle name. I know this is part of my full name, but most of the time, based on my experience, first name and last name should be enough. So this raises the questions why they were asking for my middle name. As a customer, it feels like they are only asking for those information for the sake of having those information, though it's not even relevant to my current transactions with them. And then, when my sensitive data are collected, there is a constant worry about security, thinking what measures the businesses is taking to ensure that my data is remains safe and is not prone to misuse. So these are some of the key signals of trust that help a user decide whether they would like to continue with their interactions with your platform. Trust can be established by providing seamless onboarding, personalized experiences, and most importantly, being transparent about data collection. So it makes your customers feel safe, that form the building blocks of trust and in the long run, customer loyalty. So a very common misconception is that the more data that you have about your consumer equals more understanding. According to a 2022 Forbes study, reveals that 46% of the brands believe they create excellent user experiences. But only 50% of consumers agree to that what the brand says. So going back to our example earlier, where the website asks for so many information during onboarding, thinking that collecting those information might help them understand their customers. The reality is, the experience that customers were looking for was completely different. So more data doesn't always mean better understanding. Understanding various types of data a business can collect is a stepping stone towards getting to know your consumers and unlocking unique insights. So the key lies in the type of data we collect and how we use it to connect with our customers. So as we go through this process of transparent data collection to build trust, let's consider the evolving expectation of consumers. So the recent IDC consumer survey indicates a significant shift in consumer behavior and expectation. Consumers today demand ease of access to services that they interact with. A striking 87% of consumers stop using apps due to excessive hassle or a perceived lack of trustworthiness. So this highlights the importance of providing customers with user-friendly and trustworthy interface to keep them engaged. And then filling your information again repeatedly for every new service you are signing up for is cumbersome. This is echoed by 74% of consumers who are willing to share personal information just once if it simplifies the future interactions. So long-form fields are a thing of the past, as we have been reiterating from the start. Furthermore, 79% of consumers favor a more seamless and simple onboarding. So this goes back to our signals of trust where hassle-free onboarding provides a better customer experience and in turn paves the way for customer trust and loyalty. So to align with these consumer preferences, businesses must refine their data collection and data handling processes to enhance transparency, simplify the user interactions, and ultimately build a stronger trust foundation with consumers. So this strategic shift not only meets consumer demands and changes to their behavior, but also positions the company as a forward-thinking leader in a privacy and user-centric data management. So despite the large amount of data collected across various platforms, businesses still struggle to achieve a holistic view of their customers. So data remains siloed across different sectors. For example, social media platforms captures users' social behavior and interests. Financial institutions hold the details about your financial habits. And then while e-commerce sites track purchasing patterns. However, this data is not interconnected. leading to a fragmented understanding of consumer behaviors. So this fragmentation prevents businesses from fully leveraging the insights that could be drawn from a unified data overview, thus hindering their ability to deliver a personalized services and understanding of the consumer. So to illustrate this point, consider a practical example. YouTube knows what you like to watch. Amazon knows what you like to buy. And then we have Spotify that understand our music preferences based on our playlist or most played music. And then we have LinkedIn that has insights into our professional network and experience. So this scenario highlights the challenge that businesses face in synthesizing data from multiple sources to gain a complete understanding of their customers. So such data fragmentation restricts the potential for fully personalized user experiences and can impact strategic business decisions. Another example is an online clothing store where you want to buy a new clothes that could match with the new shoes that you recently bought on another store. So if only the clothing store has access to the data about your recent purchase, the clothing store can use this data to recommend clothes that can match with the new shoes, giving a more personalized experience. So let's try to examine how businesses gather customer data using a variety of sophisticated methods. So techniques such as cookie tracking, form filling, and IP tracking allows companies to collect detailed consumer information. So this data collection extends to behavior profiling through analytics and interaction with third-party accounts, creating a comprehensive dataset about consumer habits and preferences. And then, once this data is collected, it is funneled into a central repository. So centralizing the data simplifies the management, boosts the security efforts, and help companies stay compliant with regulatory requirements. However, while central storage systems support a large-scale data operations, they only obtain a broad-based consumer consent, without the consent being taken at an attribute level, raising a significant privacy concerns. So the aggregation of large amount of consumer data, while operationally advantageous, introduces risks such as potential misuse and increased susceptibility to data breaches. So the general consent obtained does not specifically cover all uses of personal attributes, which leads to a possible privacy violation. So to address these challenges, businesses must not only implement stringent access controls, but also rethink their initial data gathering strategies to ensure that they maintain trust and adhere to legal standards. So this may involve evaluating the types and amounts of data collected to better align with consumer expectation and legal standards. So let's look at some of the challenges on traditional data collection and storage methods today. First is the repetitive form filling. So manual form filling significantly hinders efficient data collection due to its labor-intensive and error-prone nature. So this method does not only slows down processing, but also worsens user experience by requiring numerous interactions, such as multiple clicks per entry. So frequent manual inputs increase the risk of errors, leading to a database filled with outdated or incorrect information that can negatively impact insights and decision making. Another challenge pertains to the lack of transparency and concerns about data quality. So when data is collected from multiple sources, it can lead to inaccuracies and discrepancy in the data collected. Additionally, when the data collection process is not transparent, it raises questions about integrity and reliability of the data, which can erode customer trust and affect business decisions. And then lastly, we have the inefficient consent management, which is another significant challenge. So as we have seen, broad-based consent does not always cover specific data attributes, leading to potential legal and privacy issues. So ineffective management of this consent can result in non-compliance with data protection regulation and can expose businesses to legal risk. So far, we have discussed how businesses gather customer data, but still they are failing to capitalize this data because the data is not interconnected. It is unreliable based on the data that it was collected from different sources and the trust and privacy issues we create during this journey. So let's look at the path that you can take to reach and understand your consumers. So first is the bottom line, which is the second and third party data. Example are third party cookie and third party accounts to collect information about user behavior. But the challenge with third party data is the stringent regulations such as GDPR in Europe, CCPA in California, PDPA in Singapore, DPDP in India, and some cookie guidance. So relying to this kind of data is increasingly difficult. Despite these challenges, a recent Forbes study indicates that 80% of brands still rely on third-party data, yet only 60% are prepared for a future without it. And then we have the middle lane, which is the first-party data, such as form filling and website analytics, which is a more preferable alternative for businesses. So a study by Google and Boston Consulting Group shows that using first-party data in key marketing campaigns can increase revenues by up to 290%. But still, it introduces some challenges, especially for consumers. One example is the data collection via forms that can be cumbersome and creates onboarding friction. In the previous slide about evolving consumer expectations, 79% prefers a more simplified approach to registration. And then we have the behavior profiling using website tracking and analytics that leads to guesswork in customer experience. Another thing is that the data provided previously can quickly become outdated as consumer preferences evolve. So therefore, more consumer data does not necessarily equate to better understanding or improve consumer experience. So why not choose the third route, which is the zero-party data? We ask the consumer what they want, get to know what they want with their consent. So why is this important? You get a consented data coming from the richest data source that's out there, which is the consumer. So this consumer can provide the accurate, timely, compliant, and relevant data that leads to consumer understanding, which then leads to consumer experience. And now imagine if consumer could share reusable, attestable, and verifiable data with you to create experiences which are secure and relevant. It minimizes the data being asked from the consumer so that you don't overwhelm them at the beginning, and then provide the value in return, which creates a flywheel of trust. So this reusable, attestable, and verifiable consumer data is what we call holistic identity of your consumer. So this consumer share their preferences with you as rich and relevant zero-party data. This consumer can help your business achieve personalization and trust through consented data collection. So if we think about it, consumer is the missing piece of the puzzle to create a better customer experience. Consumer that feels respected and in control are more inclined to trust and engage with the business. This leads to a greater loyalty and spins off this wheel of trust where the more they share with you, the more you serve them better, and then which makes them share more. So by enabling this, the concept of hyper-personalization can be a reality. which will make your business stand out in a crowded marketplace. So customer experience describes the overall interaction a customer has with a brand, right from the point of awareness to purchase and to loyalty or churn. So it's not about creating a good user interface. It's not just about that. It all boils down to emotions and how customers feel about your brand. So right from how easily they got onboarded to how personalized was their experience and how private and secure they felt during the interaction. Did they felt invasive when the brand asked them a lot of questions at the beginning, which is relatable to our example when I was asked about my middle name when I know it's not actually needed? Did they feel that the brand knows too much about them, even though the customer have not even shared anything yet? So this raises the question, do they trust your brand enough? So this brings us to the importance of using Affinidi technology, which focuses on gathering zero-party data directly from customers. Zero-party data is information that customers willingly and proactively share with the brands. It includes their preferences, their intentions, and personal context, making it highly reliable and valuable. So by using Affinidi to gather this type of data, businesses can achieve a better understanding of their customers and create a more personalized and trust-based interactions. So this approach transforms the business to customer interactions, leading to enhanced customer experiences and greater loyalty. So let's try to see this in action. Let me jump to my demo. So first, I would like to introduce first the Affinidi Vault, which is one of the products that we built that enables users to collect, store, and share their information securely with consent. Affinidi Vault is an edge application where the data securely resides locally in the user's device. So using the open standard called Presentation Exchange Protocol provided by the Decentralized Identity Foundation, websites can request data stored in the Affinidi Vault with users' consent. So here in the Affinidi Vault, we have the liveness check, which tells the websites, whoever requested it, if the user is a bot or a human. And then we have the personal information, where my basic information like first name, last name, date of birth, and gender is there. And then we have the contact information, which includes my email, my phone number, and my address. And then the profile picture. So let's go back to our demo, which is what we call Your Cart, which is an e-commerce, a sample e-commerce website deployed on my local host. So at the start, what actually it gives you is that a chaotic or generic experience once you land to the homepage. So let's assume that this website, this Your Cart demo, uses only first-party data. So at this point, you have to offer some, as a website, you have to offer some sign up or even implement website analytics to track and try to see what are the buttons that was clicked or the pages that was visited by the user to try to guess or understand their preferences. So just like my example previously, that website usually provides multiple steps on the sign up and then faces some privacy concern because at the start, they are already asking you a lot of questions without much of a value to you yet as a consumer. So in this case, we are basically creating an onboarding friction, which is an easy path to lose your customer. So let's try to simplify this. And one of the ways to simplify is by using the Affinidi login. So with the Affinidi login, we are minimizing the data that is being asked at the beginning. So in this case, we are only asking for email address, first name, last name, and phone number that is already stored on my Affinidi Vault. So once I consented to allow access to this data will then will be shared to the website who is requesting. In this case, is the Your Cart demo. So at login or at onboarding process, we are minimizing the data that is being collected. And then from this point, what the website can do or the business can do is to create a context-based and consent-driven data sharing request or call to actions from consumers to be able to collect more data for them to understand more about the consumer, while in return giving them some value. So for example, I want as a business, I want to know the consumers or the customers' date of birth because I am running a monthly or birth date promos. Or maybe I could offer them some products during their birth month. So for this to happen is that the website can just provide a call to action, in this case, update your birth date. And then at this point, I was being requested to share my date of birth from my vault. And then I'll consent to that. And then in this case, in exchange of sharing that information, I am getting some value in return, which is I will get a discount on my future orders. And then another thing is that let's go back to our homepage. And then you want to have some more customized experience, or you want to offer the customers a more customized experience. So in this case, as a customer, maybe I'll click on the recommendation. So to be able to receive this recommendation, the website will ask for more attributes. So if the customer click on share, then it will ask for more attributes that exist on your Affinidi Vault, and then I'll consent again to allow this access. So in this case, what happens is that the business can leverage to that additional attributes to be able to personalize their experience. In this case, I am basically filtering out the items that is only relevant to the customer. So another way is to basically provide some localized experience based on the user's current location. So if you notice here, we have my current location in USA, and the currency or the pricing displayed is pretty much in USD. So if I change my location now and provide my data again, which is in this case my address, and consent to share that information into the website, now as an exchange, I will be able to get, as a customer, be able to get a more personalized experience or localized experience. So in this case, my current location is Singapore, and the pricing also displays as in Singapore dollar pricing. So let me go ahead and add to cart some of this item. And then I go to my cart and proceed to checkout. Then copy my profile address. So another use case, another example on the usage of zero-party data is be able to enable some features or some options to the consumers based on the data that they will be able to share to you. So for example, the cash on delivery on the payment method is only available if you are able to prove that you are a human and not a bot. So in this case, I'll click on I'm not a robot. And then it will ask for more data points again, which is my liveness check. So once I pass or consented to this, I will now be able, as a customer, be able to get that cash on delivery option for my order. And then I can just go ahead and place my order. So far, what we have demoed are the data exchanges using personal information stored in my Affinidi Vault. But beyond that, to provide a more customized experience to the customers, you may also, as a business, you may also want to know about their recent purchases from another store, so that you will be able to know their purchasing habit, and using that data, be able to create some personalized offer or some targeted campaign based on their additional attributes. So in this case, let me go to my profile again. And then we have a call to action here that says, share your shopping experience from other partners to avail a more personalized experience and discounts. So as a user, when I click this, since the data doesn't exist yet on my vault, or I haven't collected it from another website, the consent screen will prompt me that there's a missing data points based on the requirements or the required data coming from your cart demo. So I'll decline this for now. And then what I will do is I'll go to my other store that I, as a consumer, that I frequently went to. So in this case, I have another website that I do my shopping, and this one is built using Shopify. So in my Shopify website, I'll go to my profile, and then you see here there's a few order history that I made for this website. So I'll want to share one of this order, for example, this 1010. And then for that website in the Shopify, by integrating to Affinidi technologies, they will be able to issue credentials that consists or that contains the order history or the order details of that particular customer. So in this case, I'll click on request order BC, which will contain the order details of order number 1010. And then after it was generated, or basically the credential offer is created, I can just go and save this particular data into my vault and then enter my transaction code. So once I click on offer, what happens is that I am now collecting and claiming this credential and securely storing it on my vault. So now the data is now stored securely on my vault. So I have now my recent purchase stored in my Affinidi Vault. So I go back to my Your Cart demo, and then I want to avail this discount and to have a more personalized experience from this website. So I'll go ahead and click again my call to action. So in this case, since I was able to reclaim now the data and it is now available on my vault, I will be able to share this particular recent purchase. And then once I allow access, so in exchange of giving the business my recent purchase data, I will be able to get, one of the ways is to get them or give them some discounts. In this case, I was given a 5% discount because I shared my recent purchase. And for the advantage for this on the business side is that they will now have a more data or more insights about that customer and be able to draw insights and to be able to give them some more personalized experience for their website, probably a targeted marketing or a personalized offering or products for this particular customer based on their recent purchase. So that's just one of samples or ways of using the Affinidi technology. So all these interactions are enabling the zero-party data exchange using the Affinidi technology. So let me go back to your cart. And then to be able to get started or set up your integration with Affinidi, what you can do is you can always go to our website, which is the portal. It's called portal.affinidi.com. So in this case, if I log in, so it is also utilizing the Affinidi login. And in this case, I was requested with my email address, allow access. And then once you have allowed that access, you will be easily onboarded into our platform. So for example, let's go back to your card demo. And for example, you want to integrate passwordless authentication into your website. So in this case, you want to integrate the Affinidi login. So the way to do that is we go to our dashboard, to our Affinidi portal, go to Affinidi login, and then create a login configuration. So I'll call this e-commerce website. And then this is based on the OpenID Connect framework. I will provide my redirect URL to receive the ID token from the Affinidi login. So in this case, I'll call it website.com callback and then click on create. So once it successfully create the configuration, it will provide you with the client ID, the client secret, and the issuer, which is a client credentials required to configure your OIDC configurations. So that's just one of the ways of integrating into the Affinidi technologies and enabling passwordless authentication into your website. So if you want to know more about our technologies and our products, you can always go to our documentation to know more about how our product works. You can start with the Get Started page and then to know how to set up your vault. And then in the product sections, you can always find out how our products work. For example, how Affinidi Login works or how the Affinidi Vault works to get more understanding of how this particular technology are implemented. And then we have the services, and also we have some tools and labs. So in the labs, if you want to know more about how the integration works or how to integrate it with your existing project, we have some sample applications using different languages like Python, .NET, React, and PHP. And then we also have some sample integration with existing IAM solutions like Auth0, Cognito, and Keycloak. And lastly, we have also the third-party plugins that we have created for some popular websites like Shopify, WordPress, and Wix. So those are just some of the sample of how you can enable or integrate your project into Affinidi technologies. So going back to our presentation, so in the demo, we focus on the decentralized identity solution provided by Affinidi Trust Network to redefine data sharing between consumer and businesses driven by consent. So by placing consent at the core of data exchange, we ensure that customer data is handled ethically and transparently, building a trust and fostering stronger customer relationship. So with Affinidi Trust Network, we are able to gain deeper insight into customer behavior and preferences through consented data. And then we are able to foster a stronger relationship by ensuring transparency and control over the data use. And then since we are minimizing the data or the data being asked from the consumer during onboarding and during the interaction within the website, we are also minimizing the risk of data breaches and misuse through secure consent-based data practices. And then lastly, we are utilizing open standards and scalable technologies to integrate and manage identity-related functionalities effectively. So by decentralizing data control and prioritizing consent, businesses can enhance customer trust, improve engagement, and drive sustainable growth in the digital economy. So if you want to know more about our products, you can always go to our website, www.affinidi.com, and visit our other resources. We have created comprehensive guides and use cases on our documentation website. We have tools available to help you on your journey. So you can always visit affinidi.com/get-started to learn more about our Affinidi portal and Affinidi CLI. And go to our event page to learn more about our upcoming events, attend our webinars, in-person meetups, and social demos like this one. So just to recap, we've explored the increasing challenges for businesses to understand their customers to provide a great customer experience. We've talked about ways of collecting data to understand customers in a consent-driven process. So we demoed how zero-party data helps businesses to extract actionable insights. And finally, we went through the Affinidi developer resources that will help and guide you through on how to start your journey on building application focusing on holistic identity and zero-party data. So thank you very much for joining the session today. Stay tuned for our upcoming webinars and events, and hope to see you all soon. Thank you.